All right, everybody, buckle up because we are diving deep into Malcolm Gladwell's newest book,
Yes.
Revenge of the Tipping Point.
I'm excited for this one.
Oh, me too, right. So it's been about 25 years since the tipping point kind of like blew everybody's minds.
Right.
It changed how we look at like social trends and everything.
Yeah.
But now he's back and he's saying, okay, remember all that stuff? Well, guess what? It can be like used against us. You
Yeah.
know, like we're talking about the dark side of social epidemics, how these things can be used to manipulate us.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember when the first book came out, it did feel really optimistic, like we could start these social change movements, all this good stuff. But now, especially right now, I think this book is so relevant because it feels like a little bit of a warning
Totally.
about misinformation and how divided we are.
Absolutely. Like we are primed for this conversation.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I thought was so interesting, right off the bat, he starts talking about the magic third.
Yeah.
Can you kind of tell everybody what that is and why it matters?
Yeah. So, I mean, the magic third, the first time I heard it, I was like, what is that?
Yeah, it sounds like a band, like a boy band or something.
Exactly. But it's actually really interesting. So basically, it's this idea that like there's this percentage, like a magic number, right, of minority representation that you need to actually create harmony in a group, in society.
Okay.
And it's not just about hitting some quota or some, diversity thing. It's like actually Gladwell found it's around 30%. That's where things really kind of change and the interactions change, the dynamic shifts. That's when you start seeing real change happen.
That's so interesting, and it made me think about, like we were talking about, the things that spread. He also in the book talks about superspreaders.
Yes.
But he takes it beyond like pandemics and stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like he took that word contagious from the first book, which was about so much more than disease, and now he's like, let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that they're everywhere, these super spreaders.
Yeah.
They influence our opinions online, viral marketing campaigns.
Yeah.
He's saying this isn't new, it's just that now it's powerful.
It's everywhere. And it's like, oh my gosh, I never even thought about it that way. Like, even in the book, I don't know if you remember this, he talks about cheetahs.
Yes.
What was that about?
Yeah, I love that example. So he talks about how cheetah mothers actually will leave their cubs alone for a while
Yeah.
to force them to explore, to learn to hunt.
Oh, right.
And so he's saying this is just like when you think about people and exposing people to different ideas, even for a little bit,
Yeah.
it can actually make them more open-minded.
That's fascinating. Okay, so cheetah moms, they're like, you know what? You're going to stay home from school today and you're going to learn how to, hunt a gazelle.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the magic third, we've got super spreaders, and then he hits us with this idea of overstories.
Ooh, overstories.
Yeah, when I first heard this, I was like, is this like a scary story?
It sounds ominous.
What is an overstory?
Yeah, it does sound kind of ominous, but really what he's talking about are these larger narratives, these stories that we tell ourselves, societies tell themselves, that shape our behavior in a way that we don't often realize. It's like this undercurrent
Wow.
that's kind of guiding our actions.
And he uses that example of the 1970s TV show. I don't even remember what it was. Most people haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, nobody remembers it.
He said that show had a huge impact on how we approach social issues.
It's true. Even influenced like policy, public policy, which is crazy to think about. Something so subtle.
Subtle.
It's like, whoa.
And I love how he does that because you're reading it and you're like, I had no idea.
I know, right? It makes you wonder, like, what's influencing us now that we don't even realize?
What is influencing us now? Like, what are the overstories right now that we're just like, oh, yeah, that's just how it is.
Right.
And we don't even know.
It's like, what are we being told?
What are we being told? This is deep, man. This book, I felt like it was a little different than some of his other ones because it felt really personal.
Yes, very much so. Very intimate. I mean, he's using a lot of first-person accounts, oral histories, which I think is so smart.
Yeah, it does.
It draws you in. And even, I don't know if you listen to the audiobook, but he actually has like an original score.
Oh, wow.
It's incredible. It adds like another layer to it.
Wow. See, this is why I love Gladwell. He just thinks outside the box. It's not just like, here's some information.
So,
It's like he wants you to feel something.
yes.
Speaking of feeling something, the case studies in this book blew my mind. What did you think about that California cul-de-sac experiment?
Right. That one was crazy. Right.
Yeah.
Like, who knew that changing how a neighborhood is designed could actually reduce crime? I mean, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And he uses it to show how our environment It can impact our behavior without us even realizing it.
So crazy. And it makes you think, like, okay, if I move my couch over there, is that going to change, like, my whole life, you know?
I know, right? It's like, where should I put the couch to be less influenced?
Right. Exactly. So we're talking about all of this stuff, right? Social epidemics, overstories, super spreaders. Like, why does any of this matter? What do you think people should take away from this?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's everywhere. Being aware of how this stuff works is so important,
Hmm.
especially right now. It's like we can make better choices, you know?
Yeah.
We're not just being bombarded with information and just accepting it.
It's like we can finally understand how we're being influenced and take a little bit of control back. So, to everybody listening, we want to leave you with this. Think about the overstories. Think about those narratives that are shaping how you see the world.
Absolutely.
What are they? Are they yours or are they somebody else's?
Right. Are you the cheetah or the cub?
Ooh, good one.
Hmm.
And that's our deep dive on Malcolm Gladwell's Revenge of the Tipping Point.